wealth disparity, racial tensions, political unrest, inflation, homelessness, drug abuse, culture clashes, war. Change is in the air. We can feel it in our bones. Something's got to give, and we are not getting back to normal anytime soon, if ever. Deep down in our soul, where the real knowing takes place, there's a feeling that things are going to get worse before they get better. 5 minutes of watching the world news on TV confirms that your gut feeling is right on target. You have two choices. You can stick your head in the sand and pretend everything's going to be okay, or you can prepare to survive these turbulent times and even thrive because of them. The choice is yours to make. If you choose to prepare and prosper in these upcoming days of difficulty, this video is going to show you exactly how you'll need to go about it. Hello, this is Doc Dan coming at you from the 420 bunker, and I'm excited to spend this next bit of time with you. Let me start off by saying that we are being bombarded every day with troubling, stressful, anxiety producing news. The talking heads are great at filling up our minds with never ending world problems. Solutions, however, seem to be in short supply. The only answer we're being given is to vote for our favorite letter of the alphabet and hope that their candidate will screw us a little less than the other letters. The problem with trying to vote our way out of our country's rendezvous with disaster is that politicians don't really run this country. Unelected corporate leaders, faceless industrial complexes, and trillion-dollar hedge funds do. They're the ones buying, selling, and controlling your favorite letters of the political alphabet. Interesting as that may be, what does it have to do with the concept of building an emergency team? If you arrived at this place after reading my book, 13 Missiles of the Apocalypse, then you already understand the basic reasons and importance of building an emergency team. If you haven't read the book, first of all, shame on you.
Shame, shame, shame.
But let me take 60 seconds and summarize for you because my book really should be a central part of what we're doing here, as it explains why we're focusing on building an emergency team in much greater detail. 13 Missiles of the Apocalypse describes 13 ways our modern world could come crashing down, sending us back to the horse and buggy days without the horse and buggy. The first half is a bit of a downer as it covers catastrophic events, or missiles as I call them, such as a possible terrorist attack, an economic collapse, computer hackers bringing down our entire governmental system. There may be world devastating effects from global warming or some other ecological disaster, such as a solar flare or the Yellowstone supervolcano erupting. There may be another pandemic, even worse than 2020. If you love disaster movies, the first part of this book really will be your cup of tea. The second half of the book deals with how to survive these scenarios and even thrive because of them. The secret lies in hoarding the right things. And while there are a lot of items you should be storing away in case of emergency, the most important of these items to hoard is people, a community, a group, a team, a gang, an army. That's what I'm talking about when I say you should be building a team. Belonging to a group of good people to protect you from all the groups of bad people who will be roaming about should civilization descend into a time of chaos is simply logical forward thinking. Now, I know what many of you are thinking right now because I've had these same thoughts myself. I'm a self made person. I mind my own business. I'll be just fine on my own. This team building thing doesn't sound like the American way. John Wayne wasn't trying to build a team. Chuck Norris don't need no team. Many of us have fallen under the sway of the American myth of the self made man. Excuse me, the self made insert gender here. What we fail to realize is that the vehicle we drive to work every day was built by a team. The road we drive the vehicle on was built by a team. Our workplace is a team that someone else has taken the time to build. The rich, the wealthy, the successful all know that team building is the only way to get ahead in life. The poor and middle class cling to the myth of the self made person. Have you ever noticed that rich people are always doing this?
Whose baby is that? What's your angle? I'll buy that. Whose baby is that? What's your angle? I'll buy that.
While poor and middle class people do this. If the idea of building a team sounds strange to you, makes you uncomfortable, is an alien world, you are poor or middle class, no doubt. Successful people watching this right now are impatiently waiting for me to tell them something they didn't learn 30 years ago. They'll tell you without exception that learning the skill of team building is the only way you'll ever see real success in your lifetime. Lastly, I hate to lay this depressing reality on you, but it must be said. You really need to be meeting up regularly with good folks because groups with bad intent, from crooked politicians, shady corporations, radical activists to street gangs and drug cartels, are meeting regularly to discuss how to rob you, how to keep you poor, how to manipulate you, and how to make sure you stay powerless. They've been meeting up for years, and their plans for building a dog eat dog reality in your neighborhood are becoming more evident by the day. Let me give just one example from my book, Missile Number 7, which I label an economic crash. Experts from Warren Buffett to Jamie Dimon are predicting an economic downturn that will be comparable to that of the 1929 crash that led to millions losing their jobs and the advent of World War II. In 1929, over half of all American households grew their own food. We have no such luxury today. Should we experience this scenario, there will suddenly be millions of jobless, homeless, hungry young men with nothing but time on their hands. Add that to the millions of illegal aliens now being housed across the country, and you have the making of a time bomb of violence, looting, robbery, and mayhem. This will not be the time for you to be hunkered down at home with your wife and two kids, trying to protect what little food you have left, while staving off cartel thugs, rioters, looters, and motorcycle gangs bent on stealing everything that isn't nailed down while assaulting any who might dare oppose them. In this scenario, even if the mayhem occurs only for a few days or weeks, you're going to want to be part of your own gang with two guns pointed out every window and a 24-hour security detail securing your neighborhood against the raging hordes. In my opinion, it's far past time that the average citizen, you and me, start playing a little catch up, protecting ourselves and our immediate resources by building our own team. So, how do you begin building an emergency team? You can start by sharing with your friends and family your concerns regarding the immediate future. In fact, your team may never grow beyond friends and family. I suggest you do take it beyond friends and family for reasons I'll share later, but you don't have to. But what if you're not comfortable doing this? Is there some sort of tool that could help you share your concerns? You're watching it right now. You can share this video with people you know and trust. Make some popcorn, sit down and watch. Then, after viewing, say, "So, what do you think?" I also wrote the book. Buy it, share it, study it. Watch our YouTube channel where we'll talk more about the immediate future and how we can prepare to succeed in this fast changing environment. You could have a party or watch the videos, drink some adult beverages, and discuss how to build your team, along with an anti fragile business built around that team that will not only survive hard times, but actually thrive in hard times. Hard times are coming. Prepare now. You can ready yourself for improvement and unwavering success in the future by building a team whose sole purpose is just that, helping one another survive and prosper. That's what team building is in a nutshell. Someone once said if you get this idea in your head, you'll have it in a nutshell. So, what's the first step? The first thing you're going to need to accomplish this feat is time. You and I both know you can't add one more thing to your busy schedule without your head exploding. So, what can you clear out of your day to give you time for this new business? Bueller?
Bueller, Bueller.
I suggest cutting 1 hour of TV watching or game playing out of your schedule every day. I know, so painful. But y'all know you're wasting too much time watching other people live fake lives inside of an electrified box. It's time you start making your own life, building your own superhero. That is you. Now, if you perform that one small sacrifice, that would give you 7 hours every week to work on building your sweet team. But wait, there's more. There's a quick and easy way to double that productivity. It starts with a phone call to someone you probably already know. It might sound something like this.
Hello, Jimmy. This is Joey. Hey, bro, what's up? Nothing. Just tipping some beers. Cool story. Me too. Hey, did you read that book called 13 Measles in the Apocalypse? I think it's missiles, but yeah, I read it. It's the #1 bestseller of all time, sweeping the entire globe and causing an outbreak of world peace. True story. I heard it was just voted best book ever written by someone who is not God. What do you think about what he said about forming a group to keep up with all these world changes? I think we should get together, tip some beers, and talk about it. Good idea. Let's hook up tomorrow night. Done. See you at 6. And bring some beers.
And there it is. Simple as that. I recommend you start your team with someone you already know as a partner. It's taking that first step in building a team. Adding one person gives your group 100% growth. That's phenomenal. It doubles your productivity. It gives you courage to continue building. More people equals more and better ideas. More people equals more talents. More people equals more resources. If you can't immediately find a partner in your team building efforts, there's help to be found in our Team Apocalypse Facebook site and with our brand new Team Apocalypse Team Building Academy, where we go deep, deep, deep into the art and science of team building. But what if you just can't find someone to help you? Forge ahead. All great businesses and business people experience friction and challenges. Forge ahead. An inspirational poem that has always given me hope and courage to move forward is called Plod On. And it goes like this: Plod on, 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 plod on. No one is going to believe in you at first. Nobody ever does. But after you've put in the hours and days of work and trudged forward and struggled and groaned and sweated and bled your way to success, then people will come out of the woodwork to support you. when you no longer need it. Okay, you've decided to act, you're looking for a friend, you're plotting forward. Now what? You're going to need a place to meet. If it's just two or three of you, you can meet at your home or at whoever in your group has the best meeting spot and the tastiest snacks. As the group grows, I've used various restaurants, which make for great meeting spots because they're public and non threatening. Many restaurants have meeting rooms you can reserve so that you can begin organizing a larger group. Public libraries also have meeting rooms you can reserve, as well as some local churches. Many public schools and colleges will also open a room for you if you reserve it. You can even meet up remotely if you have the capability to pull off a Zoom meeting. Now, here's a pro tip on running a successful team, a successful business, or both. If you haven't written this down yet, grab your number two pencil and get ready to write now. The one key to building a successful business and team is creating local contacts by talking to people. If you aren't good at this, use this as practice for personal growth. Become a better business person by talking to people and building a network. Most restaurants, libraries, churches, etc., want you to call them and reserve space. It looks good on their marquee. You're bringing in business and doing them a favor. In fact, you should be trying to partner with as many other businesses and outlets as possible. If you're shy, this is a great time to build a little courage. At Team Apocalypse, we're all about that growth mindset. Don't stay in a static state of mediocrity. Grow. Before you put away your number two pencil, here's another business secret to write down. Elon Musk gave me this one when we were hanging out with Robert Duvall at Duffy's Love Shack in St. Thomas, Virgin Islands. Elon called this top secret business building technique delegation. If you're not great at spreading the word or building a business network, find a partner who is and give them that specific job duty. Thanks, Elon. Now you've created time in your schedule and a place to meet. At your meetup, what are you going to discuss? Number one, you can discuss your concerns that major corporations have gotten too wealthy and powerful and are leaving the common people behind, creating and maintaining a state of poverty and powerlessness in their wake. Or you can discuss how you're concerned that politics has gotten too partisan and nasty, serving only the interests of the elites, giving lip service to the poor and middle class while doing nothing to ease their burdens. You can discuss the fact that unless you're completely ignoring world events or sticking your head in the sand, tough times look to be looming on the horizon, presenting us with overwhelming challenges such as ecological disasters, war, economic collapse, or the rise of the next pandemic, to name just a few. You can discuss how average Americans like you and I need to come together, drop the 10% of the political debate that divides us, and focus on the 90% of the things that unite us: our children, our faith, our economy, our freedom, our peace of mind, our future. You can discuss your efforts at preparing to thrive in tough times. You can talk about current news events in your area as well as national news events. After some discussion, you can delegate job duties in serving your local community. You can challenge one another in a non judgmental way in becoming healthier, happier, wealthier, wiser contributors to society. And as I mentioned before, you can simply watch our Team Apocalypse YouTube videos and discuss them. You can outline ideas in my book. You can run your meeting any way you want to. The sky's the limit. Just remember to put some of you into your meetings. The third team and business building tip I'll offer is this: make sure you're not gathering together and simply complaining about the state of the world. Offer solutions. The world is filled to the brim with complainers. We don't need any more complainers. The world is looking for and desperately needs solutions to our current crop of problems. We'll talk much more about what solutions to offer later on in this video. As a side note to positive solutions, I try not to exclude anybody from my group by getting too political, but that's not always possible. You may even want to go the other way and focus your community more narrowly on one area with people you feel comfortable being around and who share life viewpoints with you. This would also be a perfect setup for church groups. Now, I am aware that many folks, maybe you're one of them, are not comfortable grabbing the bull by the horns and becoming the administrator of a group. A fear of public speaking for some is ranked higher than a fear of death. Maybe you'll want to join an existing group as a member. Get your feet wet first and see how easy it is to share your talents with the group and your local community. Basically, you need someone to coordinate the meeting, not take it over and give an hour-long speech. Most of the communication should come from the members, not just one person. Ask one well thought out question and watch the discussion take off. Here's a winner. What do you expect to get out of this group? Take notes. Your members will tell you how to run a successful team building meeting. Once you get a few core members in your group, you can begin advertising your meetings. Having the best community in the world does no good if nobody knows where to show up to hear what you're sharing. You can look at advertising in one of two ways: as a necessary evil that you'll need to slog through, putting in the least amount of effort possible, or as a fun, imaginative way to show off your group. I believe the latter attitude is vitally important to your success, and it will show up in the interesting, colorful, and effective nature of your advertising. Finding someone who excels and enjoys the skill of creating great advertising is going to launch your meetings into the stratosphere. Question: where do we advertise? Answer: wherever there are eyeballs. You need eyeballs, especially if you're this guy. If you're old school, you can advertise in the newspaper, in the Little Nickel, or on Craigslist. And never forget good old-fashioned word of mouth, which can also be a vital key to success. Wherever there are eyes or ears, that's where you can advertise. But if you want to know where the most eyeballs are these days, they're online. And that's where I focus all my advertising attention. When asked the question, "Why do you rob banks?" criminal Willie Sutton replied, "Because that's where the money is." So why do I focus all my advertising attention online? Because that's where the money is. That's where the eyeballs are. Everybody these days are staring at their phones, so while they're staring, make sure they're staring at you and reading your message. I personally started with Facebook, advertising on my personal Facebook site. Then I began a Team Apocalypse group site on Facebook. Now I'm on X, formerly Twitter. I have a YouTube channel, and that's it. That's all I want to do. I don't want to spend my entire life online advertising on Instagram and Rumble and Twitch and Truth Social and TikTok and blah, 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 blah. Now, if I can get a full-time secretary to do that for me, I might consider having that person do all the work of that. But until then, a few online sites are enough. Want to know where you can learn everything you need to know about online advertising in one easy-to-follow module? How to find and influence eyeballs to take action in growing your team? If you guessed the Team Apocalypse Team Building Academy, you get a gold star. Stay tuned for more details at the end of this video. Advertising is going to cause your team to grow. And as your team membership begins to grow, you can begin delegating job duties. This is the center of what Team Apocalypse is all about. There's a lot of fear out there these days. How can we turn that fear into something healthier? How can we turn this country and world around from an elitist dominated structure to a political and social atmosphere that represents the poor and middle class majority? Again, we need to stop watching life and start acting. Action eliminates fear. Action will engage your team to change their families, their local communities, and ultimately their world. Action gives your team purpose. If everyone on your team has a job to do, a job that reflects their talents and their passions, they'll become owners of the group and be more likely to continue participating. So, what job duties will there be inside your team? Here's some ideas I've come up with. A. Group administrator, the straw that stirs the drink, responsible for coordinating all the other group members. B. Advertising. I'd put one person solely in charge of advertising, an imaginative, fun person who displays that attitude in showing off your group. C. Local outreach to businesses. What can local businesses do for you, and what can you do for them? You'll never know if you don't inquire. D. Local outreach to schools. Someone in your group should be sitting in on school board meetings and offering help to our schools, rather than complaining about everything that's not being done. E. Local outreach to government. When are your local government public meetings being held? Someone should be paying attention and volunteering to sit in on these as well. F is for farm and garden. It's amazing to me how many people are loading up on guns and ammo with little to no thought about what they're going to eat or drink for months and possibly years. You will die within 3 weeks without food, 3 days without water. What's your plan to eat and drink in a SHTF situation? H. Self-defense. It would be great to add an expert in firearms and self-defense to your group. I. Food preparation. Long-term food storage is one of the pillars of your team. You'll need several experts and volunteers to help out. J. Communications manager. How will you communicate with one another if cell phones are down, electricity is out, or all systems have been hacked and are non-existent? You may want to have a person who knows how to communicate via CB radio, ham radio, carrier pigeon, smoke signals. You get the idea. J, I like to call this person the professional schmoozer. The person who knows everybody in town and what those people's talents are. This can be the administrator or an assistant. This person is invaluable in plugging the right people into the right places. A talent evaluator or recruiter, if you will. These are just some ideas off the top of my head. You could add as many job titles as you like. Finding things for every member to participate in will greatly improve your team dynamic. This is a bare bones plan to begin forming a local team. I've found this idea to be true. If you're interested in a team, you'll show up occasionally. If you become a member of a team, you'll show up regularly. But if you're part owner of a team, you'll show up every meeting, contributing to the group's success, and you'll advertise for it constantly. You want a team full of owners. If you sign up for the Team Building Academy, you'll quickly become an expert at finding jobs for each team member, giving them part ownership of your group and growing your team exponentially. So, you've got at least one partner, you've found a place to meet, you've advertised the meeting, and you're ready to go. Now, what should you actually do at these meetings? First, I recommend you have a schedule that you stick to in order to keep things on track. Your meetings can really go down a rabbit hole quickly if you let them drift without any structure. As valuable as folks with the gift of gab are to keep a conversation going, you'll need to keep these characters jibber jabber down to a minimum by relying on your schedule and maintaining a loose knit order of events. In your meeting, you may want to address world news stories, local news stories, and your own personal challenges. Then you might want to hear from the volunteers who are involved in their various areas: business outreach, school outreach, political outreach, etc. They can share what's going on in their area of the community during the week, how they're getting involved, and what the group can do to help. Lastly, you'll want to discuss sharing whatever it is you can share. Being a member of a group gives you benefits that flying solo cannot match. I'll give you just a few examples, but the possibilities of things you can share are virtually endless. Example one is owning a solar generator. Solar generators are amazing in an emergency. If the power goes out, you can hook one up. They don't need gas. They are completely silent. They have an endless amount of energy from the sun, even on overcast days. They are clean and green, and they are a must for anyone preparing for an emergency. They also sell for a starting price of around $3,000. Most of us can't afford to purchase a solar generator on a whim. But if, say, six people went in on one, that's $500 each, a little more affordable. How do you split up a solar generator six ways? You could keep it in a central location, and in an emergency, you'd have access to it by agreement. You'd need to come up with a procedure to follow should an emergency actually occur. If the power goes out for an extended amount of time, five people could bring their cell phones to charge at person number six's house, who is storing the generator for the group. They could also bring their perishable food to store in a working freezer and have access to heat, cooling, and lights. This is the way you're going to need to begin thinking as a team anyway. It's best to lay out those kind of plans right now. Other ways to share include buying sides of beef or pork as a group, purchasing bulk grocery items such as grains, rice, beans, fruits, and veggies, canning supplies, and holding group canning sessions. And lastly, maybe you're elderly and have a large backyard but can't put in the labor to get it going. Maybe some younger folks in your group live in an apartment, have the physical ability to labor, but no space. A group connects resources to where they can be best utilized. Once again, belonging to a group is much more advantageous than going it alone. Do you see how you're not just showing up and making an hour-long speech? Do not do that. Neither you nor I are that interesting. Let the group discuss the issues. It's not about you, it's about them. You might have your self defense person give a 10-minute lesson on a certain defense technique, a new type of alarm system for the car or home, or offer their time for a more in depth lesson at a dojo or shooting range. Then maybe you'd have your food prep person or medical expert share a little bit, then wrap it up. I try to keep the meetings to 2 hours or less. They can drag on forever if you're getting off track with the latest conspiracy theories or political bashing, causing many of your team to cease attending. Starting out, if it's just you and one or two other people, you'll spend more of your time planning on how to add more members to fill the spots for all the positions you'd like to see implemented. You could work on advertising and techniques on how to hold exciting, relevant meetings. Now, I have just given you all the information you need to begin changing your local community for the better, your state, your country, and most importantly, changing you for the better. all while helping you to prepare for the future and thrive in it, no matter if that future turns out great or not so great. Once you begin actively building a team, it can become like an addictive drug. You'll see how this is what you've always been called to do. You just didn't know where to begin or how to pull it off. It's truly a joy that has no equal. And the better you get at it, the more fulfilling your life may become. But what if I could offer you even more? What if I shared with you a secret that would allow you to turn this part time passion into a full time business? I've found three different ways to go about this. You may discover more once you get this thing rolling. Number one on my list, you could start a prepping business, helping others get prepared. If you are handy, if you have construction skills, why not put them to work helping people prepare for a negative event scenario? People need surveillance cameras installed, alarm systems, water filters, emergency generators, reinforced doors and locks, etc., etc. How about food prep, dehydrating classes, selling equipment such as freeze dryers, canning, and so on? Are you a first aid expert, natural remedies guru, self defense, firearms? All these skills can be transformed into a prepping business that gets its customer base from your team. Secondly, you could become a facilitator. You know what's great about being in business? The people you meet. You know what sucks about being in business? The people you meet. Running a contracting business, any business that deals with people, can be frustrating at times. People don't pay their bills, they want freebies, they accuse you of stealing, they want price cuts, their car's blinker stopped working after you installed a bathroom window, and they're sure that you are somehow to blame for that. Don't worry though, they'll send you the bill. So, how can I make money off this kind of business but skip the hassles and frustrations of actually doing the work? Be a facilitator. Recommend businesses to customers and take a percentage of the profits, or charge a flat fee for your recommendation. Remember how I encouraged you to network with other businesses in order to grow yours? This is where that comes in. You could recommend carpentry businesses, electricians, alarm companies, outdoor stores, outfitters, plumbers to install water filtration systems. There's no limit except your imagination. You won't need insurance, licensing, bonding, tools. You won't face possible litigation or the hassles of rude customers. That's just smart business right there. In fact, if you've still got that number two pencil handy, write down this business principle number three. Warren Buffett makes millions from the insurance business, but he's never sat down at someone's kitchen table and sold a policy. It's easier and more profitable to invest in businesses than it is to work for them. Thirdly, you could do exactly what I'm doing right here, right now. Teach folks how to run team building meetings and how to positively affect their local community. Give them the tools they need to succeed and charge them a fair price for providing a lucrative opportunity to do what they love while adding tremendous value to the lives of others. How do you get started doing that? I am so glad you asked. Log on to teamapocalypse.org or click the link below, and you'll see emblazoned on the front page of that website a link regarding the Team Apocalypse Team Building Academy. This academy may not be for everybody. If you're simply interested in how to start building a local team of your own, you've just been given all the information you need free of charge right here. You're welcome. But if you want to take this deeper, if you want to learn the ins and outs of how to use online advertising to grow your team, if you want to learn successful delegation techniques in order to energize your team to improve their community, if you're interested in earning a six-figure income by changing the world in a positive way, click the link below, which will magically transport you to our Team Apocalypse website and our Team Building Academy. You can also find us on YouTube, Team Apocalypse 13, and at our website, teamapocalypse.org. As my book, 13 Missiles of the Apocalypse, says repeatedly, it's time to stop doing nothing. I hope you stop doing nothing and start building your team immediately, if not sooner. I'll see some of you in our Team Apocalypse Team Building Academy, and for the rest of you, good day and happy team building.